Hello and welcome to my channel. So when I post this video, Christmas will be about 3 days away. And honestly, if your name is not Sebastian, then I don't know if you're gonna get a gift. No, I have done a little bit of shopping, but I definitely am not finished. And I would be nervous about that, but this year I am not going crazy, like sending gifts all over the place like I have in the past. I'm just it is what it is. Also, I am a notorious procrastinator and I'm not afraid to be out fighting with folks on the 23rd and the 24th. I'm just not. However, no gift that I could give someone would be greater than the gift that Black women have been giving each other on social media over the last 2 weeks. If you're not on TikTok, and I know some of you get upset when I bring up TikTok, but I can't help it. It is now the #1 social media app in the world. So I spend a lot of time over there. I notice things. It is what it is. But if you're not on TikTok, then you may not know what I mean when I say Black girl follow train. And if you are on TikTok, then you are probably very familiar with a trend that has been going on for about the last 2 weeks, where Black women have placed themselves in this little template, this little video template, and they've written text on the screen that says something as simple as, "Hey, Black girl follow train, follow me, I follow back." Now, when I first saw this happening, I was like, oh, okay, and I liked maybe one video. But because of the way that the algorithm on TikTok works, pretty soon every other video was the Black girl follow train. And I didn't participate, and I'll talk about why in a second. But first, I want to talk about why something like that would even be necessary. Social media is notorious for being a tougher place for Black creators, whether it's not being given credit for the trends and contributions we make to specific apps. In this situation, I am directly talking about TikTok, where when it first got started a couple years ago, there were a lot of young Black dancers and choreographers who were making dances that would sweep the entire app. Jelaya Harmon absolutely sticks out as someone who did the Renegade dance that eventually Charli D'Amelio, a young white TikToker, did, and it made her a global international superstar. And throughout that entire situation, people were like, what about Jelaya? And eventually she got an article, I think it was in the New York Times, and she got to dance at a New York Knicks game. But Charli got a fashion line and a documentary on Hulu, and she just won Dancing with the Stars. And we're not even going to talk about Addison Rae and that whole situation. And if you don't know these names, good for you. That's good for you. But they're just young white creators who were able to come in, make a ton of money on the app really easily. And a lot of times they did so by using content that Black creators had contributed to the app. And it got so bad that in the summer of 2021, either the summer or the fall of 2021, Black creators went on strike. And they were like, we're not making up a single dance until it is acknowledged by this app that Black creators kind of get the short end of the stick. And I remember the song, it was Megan Thee Stallion, Thought Shit. And Black creators would, the sound would come on of the video and they would just be like, and then there was kind of like a code of like understanding, like I'm not making a dance and you better not make one either. So the treatment of Black creators over on TikTok, as far as opportunities is concerned, is well documented. Also, when it comes to sponsorship opportunities and the way that brands spend money on Black creators, that has also been extremely well documented. So on TikTok, there is a rule when it comes to whether or not you can make money on the app. If you have 1,000 subscribers, you can go live and they can actually send gifts and stuff during your live. You can make money that way. If you have 10,000, you can get into the creator fund and you can make money on your videos based on views alone, kind of like here on YouTube, except for over on TikTok, they do not pay the same way that they do on YouTube, like at all, in the slightest bit. Most people on TikTok make their money through doing brand deals and through doing sponsorships, and they do not make their money off of views. And honestly, what I've heard about the TikTok sponsorship money, like what I've heard people can make, it's extremely depressing to not have access to that money. And so then you have to kind of look at what brands need from you in order to want to pay you that. And it comes down to overall subscribers, but not just that. Also, it comes down to your engagement. how many people are watching your content consistently, and do you have 100,000 subscribers but maybe only 100 or so views on your videos? Well, then we're not going to waste our money and give you these exorbitant sponsorship deals, because it's not going to be worth our time. And I've actually seen non-Black creators on TikTok in general talk about how once the algorithm, for whatever reason, stopped picking up and promoting their videos, they lost out on sponsorship opportunities, event invitations, just basically the things that make the difference between being a content creator, which is what I call myself, and an actual influencer. There is definitely a threshold that you have to get to before you can get that influencer experience. And a lot of Black creators are often left out of that threshold because their videos are not widely seen. They are not things that brands find brand safe. That's always a situation when you want to be a content creator. Are you making things and making content that brands feel comfortable partnering with? And a lot of times what a brand feels comfortable partnering with is based on societal standards that are inherently racist and maybe even a little bit misogynistic, but we won't go there.
No, friends, let's go there, actually. I was recently watching a video by Kelly Stamps, and it's one where she talks about her experience as a Black creator who mentions her faith, a creator in general, and the different things that come with that. And she talked about an article in Women's Health called "The Influencers Are Not All Right." And I went and I read the article because I have a subscription to Apple News, so I had access to it. And so I'll post some clips of the article here for you all, but to be able to read the whole thing, you need access. Anyway, the article talks about just the different things that social media creators run into that often, you're not allowed to speak about because people put being a social media creator on, like, a lot of them think it's not a real job. So if a creator complains about something, it's like, shut up and go get a real job, right? But a lot of very notable creators, specifically from the app TikTok, came together to talk about just things that have happened to them. They talked about being stalked, being doxxed, the hate comments, the hate messages. One creator in particular, her name is Teffy, and she used to be over here on YouTube, and then she moved to TikTok and never looked back. She basically has stopped handling any of her own personal social media because the effects to her mental health got so bad. But we're not going to talk about that in any more detail right now. That's something that's been covered before. And like I said, as of now, I have placed screen grabs on the screen for you to see for yourself from the article what these creators had to say. But what I want to talk about is they interviewed a TikTok creator named Ziggy Tyler. Now, I had never heard of Ziggy Tyler before this moment, which explains how weird being on social media is. Like, in one area of the world, you can have videos that hit 1 million views every time you post. And then there's always somebody that's literally never heard of you. I think social media fame is it's delusional in a way, because you're like, everyone knows me. But I had no idea who Victoria Paris was, the source or the subject, of the Women's Health thing. She's like, I get stalked and whatever in public. And I'm like, I would have no idea who you were if I saw you in the street. And Ziggy Tyler has apparently been a queer Black creator that's been posting consistently to wild success for the last 2 years. I had no idea who this man was. And I be on that app, y'all. I be there. Anyway, so he talked about what has happened to him as a Black creator and what his reality has been working with brands. And he specifically even made a video on TikTok a couple of months ago where he talked about how if he wanted to set an account or do something, and he said that he was going to be promoting white supremacy, then he was allowed to do it. But if he said that he would be promoting Black Lives Matter, that his content was flagged as terrorist content or hate content or bullying content, and he wasn't allowed to post it. And he also goes into detail about what's happened as far as his relationship with brands and, getting sponsorship deals because of the things that he wants to talk about as far as race and that sort of thing is concerned. And so I went from reading about him, I clicked a link in the article where it was talking about him, and it led me to a study that was done by a marketing group that showed what exactly is the reason for the disparity between what Black creators get paid and why brands, justify in their minds the huge pay disparity between Black creators and white creators specifically. There's already a pay disparity between white creators and BIPOC creators. But if you just look at what white creators are paid by brands versus what Black creators are paid by brands, it is a phenomenal gap. And these are the reasons right here on the screen that they listed for why that happened. So yeah, it's important to note that whenever, you are creating as a Black person and you're running into issues when it comes to working with brands, that it is a multifaceted issue. It definitely is bigger than you. And the more you talk about things like race and representation, the less attractive you are to brands, because number one, they already don't want to be associated with those perspectives because of how it might affect their audience and their advertising dollars. And number two, they've got these really strict guidelines about what is acceptable to see. And a lot of times those guidelines are based on institutionalized racist practice. They're based on racism. Okay. So I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but I actually, after I watched that Kelly Stamps video, I went and I read the article that she mentioned, and I was like, this is so much bigger than just a mental health conversation. This is a conversation about racism in this country and how it affects people's potential as creators. Anyway, getting back to my video.
The point is that a lot of times Black creators are left out of the threshold that one needs to cross in order to really, really make being a social media creator matter. So for this reason, Black women were like, you know what? If we're not gonna get help from the powers that be, we're gonna help ourselves, which is really just like chief Black womening, right? Like it's how we function. If we're not going to have the outside help us, we're going to band together and push that to the outside. So when I saw the Black girl follow train, Black woman follow train, I was super excited about it. I did not want to participate. I'll get to that in a minute. But first I want to talk about people that weren't excited about it. Because of course, when Black women do anything on the internet, there's somebody that's going to have a problem with it. I saw a couple videos of women saying, this isn't fair. This isn't fair. It should be an all women follow train. Why is it just Black women? It should be all women. There was one woman who made a very passionate video, and she was like, this is good versus evil. You should never exclude people based on race. This is wrong. If we were doing it, and as you can see, she is a white woman. If we were doing it, it would be racist. And as I spend more time on social media, something that is really saving my mental health when it comes to how people respond to any type of content that you put out, any type of opinion you have. Because honestly, you could say something as innocuous as, I love this pillow because it says, deck the paws. And someone would be, I don't know if you guys can see that. Deck the paws. It's Sebastian's pillow. But somebody would see that you have a pillow that says deck the paws, and they would be like, you know what? I have never seen a more moronic, idiotic, ugly, bald-headed, stank breath, short-nailed, short-sighted, idiotic. Did I say idiotic already? Because I'm saying it again. Stupid, ugly, and they will rip you to shreds because you had a pillow that said deck the paws. I have learned that a lot of social media response has to do with people's perspective, which then shapes their bias. And when I saw these women responding to the Black woman follow train, I said, oh, in their minds, they don't understand the barriers that exist within AI technology, within algorithm technology that is oftentimes very racist. They don't understand those barriers because it doesn't affect them the same way. They're not thinking about the issues with the advertising dollars, the issues with building platforms that Black people have had on apps like TikTok and all social media apps. And they're definitely not thinking about the fact that a lot of times our content that we create, not me, I don't be creating nothing, but our content, the content that Black people create is often co-opted by other groups and then used to build the platforms and make them millionaires. They're not thinking about that. The only thing they're thinking about is being left out of something, and that hurts their feelings. So they're reacting this way. And it's juvenile and it's ridiculous, but at least I understand it. So I was like, I'm not offended. She's just making noise. But some people were really offended, and so I think that woman deleted her video, and other women like her took their videos down. But in general, that's the pushback that I was seeing to this trend. Just people that didn't understand what's against Black women when they want to make careers in social media, specifically over on TikTok. And so then why it was so important to come together as a community and try and combat those things. So why didn't I participate? First of all, I am stubborn. And I just believe always in building my community naturally. Having an established YouTube platform and not having that translate over to TikTok lets me know that, and I've talked about this before, but it lets me know that I don't have a really established brand across all content platforms. And that's actually okay with me because it lets me be different from place to place. But at the same time, it makes me want to kind of find it, just make sure that whatever I'm doing on any platform is something that is organic to that platform for me. So if I'm on TikTok and I just want to be funny and I want to be lighthearted, well, make sure that you do that and do that well so that the people that come follow you are following you organically and you know you really earned it. Also, I think I felt like I would be kind of embarrassed if I was participating in the trend and people were like, hey, aren't you from YouTube? Well, why are you doing this? I just felt like if I did my job right, I wouldn't have to participate. The second reason is that I know that everybody who was following everyone, it didn't necessarily like their content. And a big part of being successful in social media is engagement. And so you can put out a video and you can really, really like it and you can be proud of it. But if your audience doesn't want to see it, anybody that might want to work with you, like sponsorship wise, also if you're doing a video on YouTube and you make a video, you like it, but it flops, man, that affects your analytics, that affects your, which affects how much you get paid per advertiser dollar. Like you take a hit. So you want to make sure anybody who is actually following you really, really wants to engage and watch your content. And what I could see happening was that maybe we'd all be following each other, but at the end of the day, would we really want to see that all the time? Am I really interested? There would probably be maybe like 30 to 50 people that I would actually like want to see their content. But would they want to see mine? Would they really want to engage with mine? It was a question that I had. And so that's why I didn't participate, but I still really, really loved to see it. And I was not the only one. I follow Toni Braxton on Instagram, and she posted this little video to her Instagram stories. And I thought that was super cute. It's definitely always recognized when Black women come together to support each other. I did kind of question though, what happens next? I know that when I was looking at the trend, I saw a lot of people that were like, hey, follow me if you want to learn how to put on makeup and you want to talk about style and travel. And the next person that would come through would be like, hey, I just want to talk about makeup. I want to talk about style. I want to talk about travel. And the next person that came through would be like, I'm following everybody back. Make sure you follow me for makeup, style, and travel. And I was like, okay, it's very clear what the demographic wants to see, because I think people create the content that they want to see. But then it was just like, if we're all doing the same thing, if you're all doing the same thing, isn't that going to become very oversaturated and kind of defeat the purpose? Like, will we all cancel each other out? And I was like, no, because competition creates an economy, right? And that's a very capitalistic thing to say, but it's true. And when you have people that are trying to get views and you have the next person who's doing something very similar to you, you have to figure out, how can I do this different so I can stand out? And I think anytime you have a lot of people that are doing one thing, you're gonna have people that rise to the top. So this is definitely an opportunity for anybody who has a unique voice or a unique way of doing things or seeing things to rise to the top. And so it'll be interesting to see who comes out next year as like one of the big leaders in style, travel, and makeup because of this trend. Like, who really, really is going to take this opportunity and change and transform their life because of it. I also want to say that, even though competition is kind of like a very capitalistic thing, this in general is very socialist. Like, we know what the powers of production are, and we know that the powers that be are not just going to give them to us, or I guess the tools of production. And so let's give them to ourselves. Let's spread it around. If we all follow each other, everybody could have 1 million followers. Okay? If we're all doing it, there's no way to that people can keep us excluded from the situation.
I want to add too that something I think is so powerful is Black owned and POC owned influencer marketing companies. So people who understand the issues that are happening within the industry and how some companies will not advocate for their clients. They will just allow them to be lowballed because they know that that's the go-to when it comes to sponsorships and brand deals if you're a Black creator. I found this article online about a creator that made a lot of viral dance content on TikTok back in like 2020 and 2021, and how much she was not getting paid until somebody told her, hey, you actually could be earning this. And so I think, and I don't know if she was with a Black marketing agency or not, or a POC marketing agency, but I think when you have companies of color that are in there and that are, you have agents, you have, brand representatives or whatever they call themselves, I don't know, influencer marketing representatives, who are people of color, so who are in the rooms, they're asking questions, they're making connections, they're connecting with brands that have the agenda of people of color in mind. I think that you have a situation where Black creators are in a position to be respected and to be advocated for and to get the money that they deserve, because the advertising dollars are out there. The advertising dollars are out there. The money is there to be made. And if a creator wants to make money by doing this, because every creator is not going to just want to get sponsors, right? And just become like a sponsorship puppet. It's not always about that. There's other reasons why people get into content creation. When I looked and I saw that a lot of people were doing makeup, style, travel, hair, like these are industries that when you think of them, you think brand sponsorships, right? And so when we do have agencies that are run by people of color and that have the interests of people of color and creators of color in mind, then you're going to have situations where creators of color can be properly compensated. So not only can like Black women come together and follow each other and build their platforms, but marketing, creative, I don't even know what to, influencer marketing agencies that are run by Black women, staffed by Black women, and people of color that are looking out for Black women can then help turn those platforms into situations that really make Black women money. And, all women of color, but I am specifically talking about Black women here because, well, I am one, and I am responding to a trend that Black women started on social media in response to a real big problem that we've been having on social media for a while.
And, just to go back to that woman who was so angry about being excluded from this trend, if you haven't been in a Black body, in a Black feminine, in a Black femme body, in a Black woman body, then you haven't experienced the kind of exclusion that we face. And, to not even consider it is incredibly ignorant. And I think Black women have always shown that we are capable of seeing the barriers and being like, all right, how do we get around this? And as usual, we've come together to support each other. Because I will say, even though I didn't follow the follow train, I did like the videos. I was like, yes, get there, girl, get there. 1,000, 4,000, 10,000, do it. And so, yeah, I am a supporter, even though I didn't participate, but I love to see it. All right, so I got to get back to looking at gifts for other people that are not Sebastian. But before I go, I just want to know, if you're on TikTok and you happen to be a Black woman, did you participate in the trend? If you didn't, why or why not? Also, just in general, if you'd like to do social media next year, if it's something that you're interested in, what are your goals? I am trying to figure out like what my goals are going to be for the next year, as far as content goes. What do I want to fix? What do I want to change? How am I going to redirect myself? How am I going to stay the same? Because at the end of the day, being a content creator now is like a legit job. I think we're past the point where if you tell somebody, hey, I create content, they like laugh in your face. I think people understand like you can become like a millionaire doing this. I'm not yet, but you can. The things you can do. I know of people who were making videos in their bedrooms last year, and this year they're in Variety magazine. This year they're in the Hollywood Reporter. This year they were at the Black Panther premiere, and that's a TikTok thing, baby. So I really hope anybody who participated in this trend, that's what I talk about when I say transform your life. I think TikTok is really powerful in that it is the app now that people look at for that other bigger media companies and conglomerates look at for talent that they can use for whatever. And I kind of feel like a little bit of weight is off my shoulders because I'm doing content on YouTube. And so I'm like, oh, I could just hang out. But I feel like if you really want those life-changing opportunities, TikTok is the place to be right now. And so I hope that for the women that participated in the trend and grew their accounts, I hope it grows into something that really gives them that real influencer experience, because that's, it's cool. It might be cool it's cool.
And on that note, one more tiny little interruption. It is cool, but please also keep in mind, especially if you participated in the trend and maybe you went from 100 subscribers to 11,000 subscribers. It is not without its caveats, as why did I say caveat? Whatever. It's not without its catch-22s, without its moments as well. It's definitely not a perfect career, and there may be some things about it that end up making you uncomfortable. So definitely keep the lines of communication open with people that are currently doing the career. Definitely protect your mental health. Your mental health is always more important than any amount of advertiser dollars or anything that you could possibly gain from this. But at the end of the day, I will say that it is a wonderful opportunity to be able to live a life that might not be accessible to you otherwise. So I definitely say try it out. Try it out and see if it's for you. And if it's not, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I want to do something else. But I just want to go ahead and make sure that I did say I understand that it's cool, but it also has its downsides, like any job. So just keep that in mind.
All right, feel free to share with me in the comments what you think about this, if anything. And as always, thank you for watching.